Welcome to the Explainer. So today we're diving into what is honestly the ultimate electronic expression of small input, huge output. We're going deep on the BD333 transistor. If you've ever wondered how a tiny, almost invisible electrical signal can control a massive heavy-duty mechanical motor or, drive a booming audio speaker, well, you're absolutely in the right place. We're going to unpack exactly how this tiny powerhouse pulls the whole shebang off. Okay, let's dive into this explainer. We're going to meet the BD333, take a peek inside its Darlington configuration, and see exactly how it works. After that, we'll explore some real-world switching and audio applications, weigh the pros and cons, and finally wrap it all up with a really practical, safety-first guide to finding the right replacement. Section 1. Meet the BD333 transistor. What exactly is this component? So, here's the big reveal. The BD333 is not just your standard run-of-the-mill transistor. It's actually a silicon NPN configuration specifically designed as a Darlington power transistor. Now, what does that actually mean for us? It means that hiding inside that single unassuming little package, there are literally two separate NPN transistors intricately connected together. And by teaming up like this inside one housing, they achieve something absolutely crucial, a very high current gain. It's basically two components working as one to completely multiply their effectiveness. Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer scale of the power we're talking about. It can handle a collector-emitter voltage of up to about 80 volts and a collector current of up to 6 amps. We're talking power dissipation up to 60 watts, which pushes the max junction temperature to a blistering 150 degrees Celsius. And just look at that DC current gain, a minimum of around 750. But I really have to emphasize a critical point here. These figures are typical, not universal. Specs can vary wildly depending on who made the part. An older Philips or NXP BD333 might behave differently than one from another manufacturer, so always check the specific datasheet. Section 2. Inside the Darlington configuration, the magic of the multiplier effect. So where does all this power actually come from? Well, think of the internal setup like a high-speed relay race. The electrical signal enters the input base, which drives the first transistor, Q1. The emitter current of Q1 then acts as the baton, and it hands off that current to drive the base of the second transistor, Q2, which then flows to the collector-emitter output. Because that first transistor is directly driving the second one, their gains don't just add together, they multiply. And to put that multiplier effect into perspective, it's pretty mind-blowing. If transistor 1 has a gain of 50, and transistor 2 also has a gain of 50, you don't just get a total gain of 100. No, you multiply them. 50 times 50 gives you a massive combined gain of 2,500. That is exactly why the BD333 has such an astronomical current gain compared to an ordinary single NPN transistor. The actual gain will depend on operating conditions, for sure, but this multiplier effect is what makes the Darlington configuration such a game changer. Section 3. How the transistor works. From off to full saturation. We can break this operation down into 4 really logical steps. Step 1, when there's no base current, the transistor just remains completely off with only a tiny bit of leakage. Step 2, you apply a very small base current. This wakes up Q1, which starts conducting, and, going back to our relay race, it drives Q2. Step 3, the transistor turns on and a large collector current flows. You have this tiny input controlling a huge load. Finally, step 4 is saturation. With enough base current, the collector current is high, voltage drops low, and it acts basically like a closed switch. Just keep in mind, though, Darlingtons do have a higher saturation voltage than single bipolar transistors. Section 4. Applications, switching, and audio. How it drives the real world. Let's move on and see how this builds into real-world circuit board applications. This brilliantly illustrates the versatility of the BD333. On one hand, we have blunt force switching applications. It acts as a current-controlled switch, where a tiny signal turns on heavy mechanical loads. We're talking relay drivers, motor controls, big solenoids. But then, on the other hand, we have audio amplification. A delicate little audio input signal uses that massive current gain to physically push a heavy speaker cone, often paired with a complementary PNP transistor. It's the exact same component, seamlessly shifting between heavy industrial switching and nuanced high-fidelity audio. Section 5. The pros and cons. The incredible advantages and the literal heat. Okay, let's look at the pros first. These advantages are exactly why the BD333 is such a massive favorite for hobbyists and engineers. You get that very high current gain, a really solid current capability of around 6 amps, and a high voltage capability around 80 volts. Plus, it handles massive power, up to 60 watts. It's excellent for power amplification, and honestly, it's just an easy drive. You need very, very little base current to control the whole thing. So with all that incredible power and such an easy drive, it kind of begs the question, right? Is the Darlington perfect? Well, the short answer is no way. In electronics, power always comes with a price. The first major flaw is that higher saturation voltage we mentioned earlier. That creates greater power loss during switching, which immediately translates into extreme heat generation. To put that into perspective, if you have a 3-volt drop and a 4-amp current, that equals 12 watts of literal heat. Without a heat sink, you haven't built a circuit, you've basically built a tiny, highly destructive space heater. Also, because of trapped internal charge, it suffers from slower switching. So it's great for low-speed stuff, but terrible for high-frequency switch.
Section 6. Finding the right replacement. A practical guide for the DIY repair bench.
So the crucial point here is that there is no universally guaranteed drop-in replacement for every single BD333 out there. But if you've got a burned-out one sitting on your workbench right now, here are 5 great candidates. The BDX33B is your closest 80-volt class candidate. The BDX33C gives you a little more breathing room up to 100 volts. Then you have the TIP family. The TIP 120 is super common and widely available. The TIP 122 is great for higher voltage switching, and the TIP 142 is a total beast for highly demanding, high-power applications. But I need to firmly emphasize this safety-first warning. Never install a replacement solely because the part numbers kind of look similar. Like we said earlier, a Philips BD333 and an ST BD333 might not even have identical pinouts. You have to pull up the exact manufacturer's datasheet and compare the voltage rating, current rating, gain, package type, saturation voltage, and thermal characteristics before you solder anything to your board. Which brings us to our final provocative thought. If you're replacing a BD333, ask yourself this: is it failing because it was just a bad old part? Or is it failing because of the 12 watts of intense heat it's fighting right now? Before you just swap the component, investigate your circuit's heat management. Understanding the why behind a failure makes you a vastly better troubleshooter. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this deep dive empowers you on your next electronics project.